So let's move on to this, which is actually about COVID. It's actually about people who are 65 years old and who have gotten
our old ass Congress.
Yeah, our old ass congressmen who are getting sick. So let's put this up there on the screen. Lindsey Graham tested positive for COVID. He says, I was just informed by the House physician I have tested positive for COVID-19. Even after being vaccinated, I started having flu-like symptoms Saturday night. I went to the doctor. Here's what he says, and this is actually very important. I feel like I have a sinus infection. At present time, I have mild symptoms. I'll be quarantining for 10 days. I'm very glad I was vaccinated because without vaccination, I am certain I would not feel as I do now. My symptoms would be far worse. And that gets to exactly what we were just talking about, which is that if you are over 65 and Lindsey Graham is 66 years old, then COVID used to be 66. I'm not saying it's a good thing to have a sinus infection or to have flu-like symptoms, but he's going to be okay. That's the whole point. That's why we went through all this. So I've been really annoyed by all of the dunking and being like, he won't refuse to wear a mask, blah, blah. Well, he's supposed to wear a mask in order to avoid sinus infection. You're supposed to do that and to avoid like all sorts of common illnesses that we have all the time. I think that's patently ridiculous. We accept a certain level of baseline risk within our society. And look, if you want to, go for it. But in terms of requiring it for everyone, I think that's completely ridiculous. That being said, there's actually a lot of legislative ramifications for what happened with Lindsey Graham. Because it turns out that Lindsey was at a party on Friday. And that party— Saturday. And that happened on Joe Manchin's houseboat. So let's put this up there. So CNN reports, Senator Joe Manchin entertained a small group of senators on Saturday night. Senator Graham was in attendance, according to a source with knowledge. Manchin's office is declining to say who was there.
So now, we have some of the names, though.
Okay.
We know at least Mark Kelly, Chris Coons, John Thune, and Jackie Rosen, in addition to Lindsey Graham, were also on Joe Manchin's houseboat party.
And Cortez Masto. So these are all actually pretty important votes whenever it comes to what? The bipartisan infrastructure bill, where the votes were all scheduled to happen this weekend, Friday and more. There's been a lot of stuff that's been thrown into the works here. Apparently Kristen Sinema has told Chuck Schumer, if this goes into my vacation, I will not show up, which
She's really something, isn't she?
If this goes in my vacation, I will not show up and do my job of which I was elected to represent the 6 million people of Arizona? Okay, that's certainly a position. It's interesting, but I find this hilarious. It seems like Manchin's houseboat itself might be one of huge threat to centrism Washington. So this was called out. Apparently, a while back, John Tester, who's a senator from Montana, was on Manchin's houseboat, and it was in the middle of the winter. He was leaving the houseboat down the gangplank, and the gangplank was apparently completely covered in ice, and the two of them went slipping and sliding, and one of them even kicked a piece of metal, per what they say there. It says Tester was bleeding from his left hand. He asked Manchin if he was all right. He says, I think I broke my thumb. Doctors then put Manchin in a brace, but he took it off after a few weeks.
Tester almost fell in the water. This
was almost fell in the water in the middle of the night in winter. So this is a dangerous place. More importantly, it's this, which is that the socialization, all of that in COVID has made it so that the votes for the bipartisan infrastructure bill could be scheduled anywhere from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending on what's happening with depending on what happens with the procedural vote and all that stuff to move forward. It could put it very much into danger. The reason why that matters is, as I was saying, they're scheduled to go on vacation the week after next. And so if they don't make it to their middle of their August recess as scheduled, some senators like Sinema, others I believe have all sorts of prior commitments that they have in their districts. Some may miss the votes, which could then skew the vote count and could throw everything into whack. So that's why this actually matters in terms of national politics.
I think they'll probably be okay. Number one, because the vote margin on the initial procedural vote was pretty high. Like they had some room to work with. What did it end up being, like 67, 68? Yes, so they've got some wiggle room. And then also I was looking at the CDC guidance on what to do if you have been vaccinated and you come in contact with someone, you have known contact with someone with coronavirus, and it actually doesn't require a quarantine. You're supposed to wear a mask and monitor and all that stuff. So they should be okay, but Joe Manchin's houseboat as potential super spreader event.
Yeah, super spreader event, Joe Manchin's houseboat.
Anyway, not big Lindsey Graham fans here, but we hope he feels better.
Yeah, feel better, Lindsey. Wishing you the best.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut. Our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions. All that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.